Well, happy Monday, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you had a great weekend. We're going to talk about, well, I posted a graphic earlier that said, leave your comfort zone. And it was written in the sand. Well, today's video is going to be about this question. Why won't you leave your comfort zone? What is it about that comfort zone that makes you stay there? And what is it about your dreams and aspirations that it induces fear and it won't let you go forward? Well, it's us that we don't let ourselves go forward. When we're trying, we see that out there and we think, you know what, they're all just better than I am. That's not, well, I can tell you that's not the case. And I thought, what did I have to lose by trying to go into a legal field, into the legal field? And in whatever position they offered me, I didn't even know that much about being a paralegal at all, what that meant or anything. And the paralegal career had been around since I would say mid to late 80s. Before that, everybody was a legal secretary. So why won't you leave that comfort zone? Now that could be, if you know, this particular page on Facebook is for people who are looking at the career for the first time, or and you're going to jump in without school, which is totally doable, or you're in school or you're going for a certificate. Any one of those scenarios is possible. Don't think that it's limiting, okay, and that there's only one way. It's certainly not the case. So I'll tell you a short story that was it's not really humorous, but a neighbor came over and saw that a dog on the porch, his neighbor's dog, was moaning and groaning, and the neighbor was sitting right there. And he said, well, why is the dog moaning and groaning? He said, because he's laying on a nail. And he said, well, why doesn't he get up? He said, because it doesn't hurt enough yet. And it's really a good lesson in how we are with our own comfort zones. It doesn't cause aches and pains in us mentally enough yet. And when we get to that point, then we'll take the leap, hopefully. But why do we let it get to that crisis point before we take the leap? I saw people in my own family miserable in some of the jobs they had, but it was a job and they were quite pressured to stay in a job they didn't like. That's what their family thought, you know, their parents thought they should do. And it was misery. I watched several of my family members do that. They weren't allowed to dream while they were growing up. The goal was to get a job and stay in it for 30, 40 years, even if it was misery. And I'm here to tell you that that does not have to be with a job, period, and it does not have to be in the legal field for sure. You will hear people in this field who are miserable. And number one, they're probably not in the right area of law for them, or they're not in the right career. And that's why I tell my students over and over again to research areas of law to see if it's a fit for you. And then you'll feel like, oh, I could do this. And you'll have more confidence, and you'll have more self-assurance, and you'll want to make that jump. So the moaning and groaning about a situation, but not doing anything to change it, gets you nowhere. You stay in that, I call it a comfort zone, but a lot of times it's not comfortable at all. I've been in that, and I had to push myself out. What was keeping me from moving forward in certain areas of my life? It was fear. And when I really had a meeting with myself about that, what is stopping me? It was fear. It was what will other people think? All of those things that I talk about in my videos. It started with me and my realization of what was keeping me stagnant and stuck. When we make a change or we're thinking about it, we start to reevaluate what we've been doing. And we have to make that adjustment. And some of those adjustments can feel scary. So if you say, well, Leslie, I'm not that great with Microsoft Word. Well, you can get better. You can take free classes right on YouTube. So where you have the internet now, and you have YouTube and places like that where you can take lessons for free. Hold on, guys. Got a robocall coming in. There's no excuses for that stagnation or being stuck. So if you're like this with Microsoft Word, and you don't know Excel, and you don't know PowerPoint, or it's all like this, then you can fine tune that just by going and just do searches and listen to a teacher. You don't like that one, search for another one on YouTube. Okay? I don't provide links for that. I want you to learn how to search, because you will need that knowledge, because that's what we do as paralegals. We teach ourselves all the time, and make those adjustments where we're building on top of the good and letting go of the bad. Make adjustments. Number 3, why does change feel so life-threatening? Well, that's all rooted in fear. So there's not one human that I know who isn't fearful when facing something new, but it's what our attitude is towards that. Either we're on the attack, or we just shrink back into a shell. And that's the difference. It's not that we don't have fear. And when I started seeing how people carry on great conversations, which I did not know how to do. I was so shy as a young person. I didn't know how to do that outside of my family. I would be so afraid and just shake. I had to learn how to do that in order to survive in this world. And I would watch other people and how they carried on a conversation, and then I would mimic that with other people. And then it increased my vocabulary a little bit. My vocabulary increased after I went into the legal field, and I put extra effort out just to learn terminology. And I was already on the job in my first job, so I thought I have to up my game. So staying in some type of man-made comfort zone just isn't going to cut it for any field. What do you do when a barrier is in your way? Now, it could be that you feel deficient in some areas. What do you do about it? That's the thing. You have to take action. There was this story about people coming down a path, and the king of the country stood off to the side, and he had placed a boulder on the path. And some of the people walked around it. Another person came up and just yelled and blamed the king and other people for this boulder. But the third person was a vendor who had a cart, and that person pushed and pushed and ended up being able to push that boulder out of the way. That's what I tell my students to do. When you are learning to be an expert in Microsoft Word, and not an expert in Excel or PowerPoint, but just beginner status, you are pushing boulders out of the way. And that's getting out of your comfort zone. So just keep doing that for everything. And positive self-talk is very important. Stop doing that negative self-talk to yourself about you. There's enough people who will want to do that against you, or have already in your life. You don't need to do that against yourself. So positive self-talk. I can do this. I'm going to learn this. I have cried over Microsoft Word because I couldn't get some things. I didn't have that problem. Well, I did in the beginning with WordPerfect, because all the law firms were, and all legal departments of any corporation, everybody was using WordPerfect until Word came out. And then a lot of businesses switched over. Law firms did not. They were the last holdout. So what I want for you today is I want you to see those new possibilities. Doesn't matter how you were raised. This is a mindset shift. I had to do that. Coming from parents who were not allowed to dream, and grandparents either. Because my grandparents, I would say most of the men were all immigrants. So they didn't have any other goal but to land a job. It wasn't like going after their dreams. That died back in Europe. They just had to find a job. But because they did what they did, we can do what we're doing. And we can chase after dreams because of them just landing in a job and working as mine did in factories, and so that their kids could have, and grandchildren and great-grandchildren could have a better life. So don't we owe them to chase after our dreams then? That we chase our possibilities? That's one of the reasons they came over, was to have more open doors regarding a job where maybe they couldn't get work in their home country. So get off that same old path and get on that new path. And yes, there will be boulders. I can promise that. There will be boulders that you have to push out of the way to go after the end goal. Okay? And it is possible. It's totally possible. You know, and sometimes when we are dreaming like that, when we start to tell everybody our dreams, it feels like we've achieved it already when we haven't. What I had to learn to do was wait until I landed the job and then was working in the job, and then I would tell my whole family. Sometimes, you know, because my family and I, we lived far away from each other, my parents and cousins and everything. So, but when you're right in the same town and everything, everybody knows everybody's business, right? So it's a little bit harder to do that. But I like to keep things under wraps until I'm in it and I decide whether, that's how it was when I started in the legal field, until I decided whether I liked it or not. And then I would spread the news. So get on that path. Remember that everybody on the path is struggling in some form or another, and you're not the only one, and they're not better than you. You know, you each have gifts that are unique, and they may be better researchers than you, but you may be better at organization and pulling all the puzzle pieces together than the next person. So don't compare. Don't do the comparison game. Just get on that path and keep going, and don't give up, and take good notes as you watch a lot of the videos here, whether it be on Facebook, the Paralegal Coffee Talk page, or on YouTube. Paralegal Career Mastermind is the name of the channel. So for my people on YouTube, look in the description box for all the links there. And for the Resource Hub, you need to sign up and just be part of that. There's so much free stuff on there for you. And also on Facebook, if you want to be part of the Resource Hub, just scroll down. It's no charge. Scroll down and look for that, Paralegal Resource Hub. And also look for the Paralegal Career Secrets Black Book. That's a PDF. And you'll see that when you scroll down, okay? Have a great day today. Any questions, comments, please feel free to post. If you're posting on Facebook right now, it won't show up usually until I'm off. But any questions or comments, I love to hear from you. And if you feel like, well, I don't want to post here because it's not that private, then email me at paralegalcoffeetalk@yahoo.com. Okay? Would love to hear from you. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.